Let's start with prayers. Om Ajnanatimidandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurum Nilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. A warm welcome to all of you. Today we are going to discuss about 9 types of intelligence. You'll be wondering, we have only heard a word called intelligence. Where are these 9 varieties coming from? So this is as per different authors who have been drifting away from the traditional understanding and would like to give more inputs, more deep insights about psychological patterns, how a person responds to certain stimuli, his behavior, his or her behavior at different times, and the knowledge acquiring abilities. There are different kinds of knowledge one can learn. If you remember, Lord Krishna in 64 days, he learned 64 types of subjects or knowledge, vidya what we call. So one day he became an expert in archery. Another day he became an expert in music. Another day he became an expert in fighting. So it goes on like that. The list is up to 64. So he is expert in all kinds of knowledge, and he only displayed for our sake that he is learning from a guru these kinds of different aspects of knowledge, but he himself knows everything. This only gives us an opportunity to reflect upon what are the different kinds of skills or knowledge, set of knowledge tools, or what we call as intelligence that we all possess. It's a basic material analysis, and this presentation is dedicated to His Divine Grace Abhay Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So coming to 8 types of intelligence, Mr. Howard Gardner, he wrote a book. He proposed a theory. Always we hear theories of different intellectuals. So this is one of the theories which has been improvised by various other thinkers over a period of time. In his book, he writes these 8 types of intelligence. To start with, he talks about linguistic abilities. The ability to think in words, to use a particular language and express the thoughts and appreciate complex meanings. So this allows us to understand the order of words which are used, also to apply meta-linguistic skills to reflect on the usage of language. If you heard of Mr. Shashi Tharoor, who is the Member of Parliament of India, he uses very esoteric, very complicated words to express one's thought. So we keep pondering over, we keep wondering what he's trying to make sense, what is he trying to explain. That is the linguistic skill, one's ability to express thoughts through words, and a skill to even absorb, understand, comprehend the usage of words, the written subject matter, and this skill is the most widely shared human competence, this particular intelligence. And we find various people across the world who are poets, who are journalists, who write articles, also effective public speakers. So this includes some kind of writing, reading, telling stories, narrating the stories, and doing crossword puzzles. So all these are skill set which are used for linguistic abilities. The sound what we use, how do we modify, how do we manipulate the sound, and what we call vowels or vocals, and the usage of tongue, the pronunciation, all these are coming from linguistic abilities. So now coming to Krishna conscious perspectives, where do we use all these skills? Can anybody please help me? Where do we use these linguistic skills?
Teaching.
Yeah. In talking about Krishna consciousness to others, we read Srila Prabhupada's books every day. We preach whatever we have read in our own language, we are comfortable with. And also the ability to reflect on what we have read, appreciating the subject matter, the depth of the subject matter, what we are reading, the value of the subject matter, remembering those what we have already heard or spoken. We spoke to somebody today, and then that was a very nice discussion of a very interesting subject. So we think about it and we try to remember that, we try to understand more. And then the comprehensive abilities to understand when a teacher is talking in the class and somebody is giving a lecture, then reading various articles and appreciating the usage of language. So many times we feel very happy when we read something very interesting or we hear something very interesting. The youth today remember the movie dialogues. So I had one friend who used to explain while I was traveling in the bus during my college all the movie dialogues, and he used to entertain everybody, and exactly the same way it was done in the movie, with all that music from his mouth. So then when we chant shlokas, there is that metric pronunciation. Even that is a linguistic skill. And today we hear a lot of talks, TED talks, many professional talks, many spiritual talks over the internet, social media. So there are public speakers who can enthrall the audience, who can capture the mind of the audience through their narrative abilities, their engaging abilities. So all these are part of linguistic skills. So every skill, every type of intelligence, every type of knowledge, what he has explained, we'll try to understand what it is, and also from a devotional perspective. Now, bodily or kinesthetic skills, very easily we can remember. We go to gym or we do yoga asanas to manipulate a particular object and to have a particular physique and a type of fit body. So this skill to maintain one's own body and to manipulate matter which is outside me, that kind of intelligence is called bodily or kinesthetic skill. So this also involves a particular timing, the perfection of details or skills through the mind-body system, the mind-body union is very important in dancing, especially when we are dancing to a particular music. So the mind-body system union has to bring about a particular way of dance. Now we have various types of dances. There is Bharatanatyam, for example. Bharatanatyam, the facial expressions, and then the kind of movements, the hands, body, legs, everything do very complicated movements. Odissi Nritya, then Kuchipudi, then break dance, then lot of types of dance. The body needs to have that flexibility. That is a kinesthetic skill. And today's athletes, they have to run, so they need to have that free movement of the body to move in the air. Then we have surgeons who do surgery over the other body. They have to have that skill. The arts and crafts also involves kind of kinesthetic skill, using the fingers and the skill of the mind. So even in our kirtan, we dance in a rhythmic pattern. So that also, even that is a bodily or a kinesthetic skill. And very interesting example is cooking, which involves particular timing, especially when a devotee is cooking multiple items. Suppose I am cooking rice, simultaneously I am cooking dal, simultaneously I am cooking sabjis, and then roti, then sweet, and multiple items. So I need to have the perfect timing and ensure that right time I go to that particular item, and then I do whatever is required, and then that is called as multi-processing. Especially when we are sitting on the laptop, we are working on different windows, and then we ensure that we do right thing at the right time. So this mind-body union is this skill. And then when we are cleaning, we use our skill to clean. We don't do it not applying the mind. We apply the mind, especially cleaning the kitchen. We ensure that all that what is messed up is cleaned nicely. And when we do deity worship, we are very, very cautious. The way aarti has to be done, the way deity dressing has to be done. So all these are kinesthetic skills. Please feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions. Now the third type of intelligence is called interpersonal intelligence. How to effectively deal with other person. How to give a warmth situation, how to give a comfortable feeling, how to be empathetic, how to be sympathetic to others, how to be compassionate to others. So understanding these sensitivities in interaction with other persons. It may be even a dog. When we are dealing with the dog, we understand how the dog responds, and then we make the dog happy. Or any other person whom we are dealing with, especially when we are traveling in a flight or any other means of transport, we are very cautious about whom we are sitting with, and then I don't hit them, I don't misbehave there, and then so these are interpersonal skills. And then today, if I cough or if I sneeze, then everyone starts staring at me. So we have to be very cautious. This is called interpersonal skill. So this is an ability to understand, interact effectively with others. It involves not only the verbal communication, there is also non-verbals. So there are some gestures which I make may not be palatable, may not be according to the proper etiquettes. So I have to be conscious of verbal communication, sweet talk, and then at the same time, my non-verbals should not be hurting others. So we have this an ability to note distinctions in others. Every person is different. No two people are same. So to be sensitive to the moods and temperaments of others, and to also entertain, to accept, to include other perspectives. So this role mostly is required when somebody is a parent teaching the children, then teaching in the school. There are social workers. We have to have all inclusive policies. Then actors, then politicians. So all exhibit this interpersonal skill, especially in the leadership role. So one who is good in communicating and seemingly understandable about others' feelings, emotions, motives, etc. So this is called interpersonal skill. So how do we apply that in our devotional life? Any thought? So the most important aspect is Vaishnava behavior. How do I behave with others? The most important interpersonal skill, interpersonal intelligence. So I should not be hurting others during my behavior, my talk, my interaction should be more pleasing. So this is a very matured interpersonal skill, and also not only with other Vaishnavas or devotees, even regular common people, also with the deities, because deities are also personalities in the temple. So now how much conscious I am not to make any mistake in front of the deity and follow all the rules which are meant to be followed for deity worship. Then in the temple hall there are some etiquettes. So all these constitutes the interpersonal skill, the behavioral aspect. And even though sometimes we don't know, and when we come to know, if I have good interpersonal skills, immediately I adapt to those new circumstances. So the compassionate features, the merciful features of a personality, then how to talk sweetly, palatable, beneficial for others, especially one who is good in interpersonal skills, they will be very good in sales and marketing. So when we go for book distribution, it's a very important skill. If we already have got, it's a very good skill to use it. This intelligence enables us to hand over and sell Srila Prabhupada's book to others to read it. And also this skill is helpful in performing theatrical activities related to Lord Krishna, and also in the leadership roles. Now another fourth important aspect is called intrapersonal. One intelligence is to deal with others. Another intelligence is to reflect on our own thought process. What is going on in my mind? What is going on with me? Am I all right? So self-checking mechanism, that is called as intrapersonal intelligence, is a capacity to understand one's own current situation, one's own thoughts, one's own feelings. What feelings do I have towards deities, towards others, towards myself, towards my family members, towards my friends, and using that knowledge in planning and directing one's own life. Where should I correct myself? So this involves not only appreciation of self, also that the body what I have got, appreciating that Krishna has given me such a body, and this is used in psychology, especially to analyze what's going on in the mind of a person, especially when there are serial killers, there are psycho killers. The doctors, psychotherapists, psychologists, they analyze the intrapersonal aspect of a person. What's going on in his mind? Is he a split personality, behaves differently at different times? So this is an issue today, and the mental wellness is a big concern. So our own, how to handle our own feelings, how to motivate myself, this is called as self-control. So a Vaishnava or a devotee is equipped with all the skills to control his or her own mind, thoughts, feelings, emotions, and changing our regular habits We may have been born and brought up with certain habits, but when we take up devotional path, our habits change. How we become so clean externally, internally, and how we can master over my different inflicting moods and criticizing my own self for all that what I have done. This is called a self-criticism. Is a reflection of what I have done, in contrast with self-glorification. So intrapersonal skill is not self-glorification. Intrapersonal skill is to analyze where I am wrong, where I am good, and filling the gap where I am not so good. This is called self-improvement. This is an intrapersonal skill. And as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, find faults in yourself than to find faults in others. And this is a fantastic skill if we are able to develop, and there's a huge scope. If we are able to we'll go to the ninth skill, and then that will help us develop intrapersonal skill. There's no limit to this, and this is what is very much required in our spiritual life. Now there is another skill called spatial intelligence. It is a visualization capability, go beyond the different dimensions what we are exposed to. So we today talk about 3 dimensions, but there are many multi-dimensions today which we have not experienced. But from Bhagavatam we are able to understand all that. We are only in the earthly planet 3D dimension, some space dimension, time dimension. The dimension which exists in the upper planetary systems is also another type of dimension. And there is spiritual dimension, which understanding of the universe and then understanding of the spiritual world. So these are capacities which includes imaginative abilities, mental imagery, and then the spatial reasoning, calculating the distance between 2 planets, and then image manipulation, graphics, artistic skills. So there are many people who are involved in this kind of an intelligence, who have blessed with that. Sailors, pilots, they need this spatial intelligence, especially a pilot, to take off, to keep the flight in the air properly, and then to land. There are many painters, sculptors, all architects. They use this kind of an intelligence, especially in jigsaw puzzles. People are fascinated by that. So this is also called as which involves 3D modeling. There are many softwares today, and somebody is involved in 3D animation, infographics, then coloring, painting, sculpting, then carpentry. There are various kinds of carpentry involved today. Even if you want to put flooring to your house, there is some kind of spatial intelligence which is required. If you are constructing a house, a skyscraper, if you are developing a software, then if you are making a PowerPoint presentation, so all these require some kind of an imaginative ability to simulate in our brain before we bring it into existence externally. So these called spatial intelligence. And we all know musical abilities. Musical intelligence is a very special ability, a skill, especially to discern what raga, what tala we are able to sing. There are different ragas for different moods. There are different ragas for different times of the day. There are different ragas for different seasons. There are different ragas for different places. And then when a person is involved in singing or using playing any musical instrument, there is something called pitch, high pitch, low pitch. There is a tone, there is a frequency, there is a rhythm, there is a timbre. How to recognize, how to create, how to reproduce. There are DJs, how they mix music and then they create that wow effect. So somebody is a music lover, it means he has got musical intelligence, And there are many music composers. We know very good music composer in India, A. Rahman. That is a talent. So how to mix all the different types of music? Today mixing is also a very good skill. A lot of people do that. And then when you are hearing to a music, you very quickly can discern and ascertain which is mridanga, which is kartal, which is sitar, which is who is singing, etc., etc. So that is called music ability. And all these are also dealing with emotions, music and emotions, mathematics and music. All of them share some common thought processes. So this we know if we are participating in kirtan. So there is a way to clap. So all of us clap in a rhythmic way. So this is musical talent. Doing everything in a synchronous mode. We may be able to sing, but when we sing along with a team, then it requires the ability to sync up with everybody, so that the whole music as a in toto comes out very nice. So next comes logical intelligence. This we all know. We have many of us have been participating in competitive exams across the world, wherever we are as a student. This mathematical abilities, logical abilities, and is an ability to calculate, to quantify things, to consider proper propositions, what different kinds of hypotheses, and then to complete mathematical operations. And is an ability to perceive something abstract, symbolic representations. It's called reasoning skill, and it's called also a deductive thinking process. So this is used mostly by mathematicians, detectives, then scientists who work on this kind of an intelligence mostly. And this is called as a is used mostly in the scientific temperament. If I am very thoughtful, very intelligent, mostly when we say he is very intelligent, we actually refer to mostly this kind of a logical or a mathematical intelligence. We don't recognize other talent. That's why today we just want to force kids to read as though they have only to develop this skill in this world. So what about all the other skills? So kids can develop according to their abilities, whatever Krishna has given in their karma, and as they grow ahead, they can see various skills which they have developed. We can see kids who didn't even know how to play kartal. Now they are playing kartal. So, and one day they will be able to play guitar, they will be able to play keyboard, a lot of things they will be able to play. It's all hidden talent. So this is musical skill. Like that, as a person grows according to their own karma, whatever Krishna has given, so they will be able to develop these skills at different time points in their life. So especially in management, this is a very much important skill apart from the intrapersonal skill, to manage the administrative affairs in finance, in HR, and also in debates. In debates, they're more of a logic, they're more of a reasoning ability to talk for or against a particular topic. And in preaching especially, this is very important, because today's world is more have developed this kind of a skill. That's why Srila Prabhupada's books is full of logic, reasoning, analogies, which captures our scientific temperament. So it's very easy to preach and convince people to chant if you have this ability. So naturalist, eighth one, it's an intelligence to see harmony between nature, other living entities, the plants, animals, to be sensitive towards natural resources. If I'm using water, I don't leave the tap and keep doing my work. So I use it whenever I require. I use fire whenever I require. I use electricity whenever I require. I don't waste resources. At the same time, there are living entities as animals, birds, plants. I don't destroy them by my vicious thought processes. I don't harm them just to enjoy my sense gratification, as though human beings are the only people are supposed to enjoy in this world. So that kind of a self-centered approach is not naturalist thought process. So there are so many animal activists today, nature activists. Why they are taking up that role? Because they are very sensitive about this naturalist intelligence, about nature, the greenhouse effect, all that. They have this kind of a sensitivity. So today the consumerist world is exploiting this naturalist intelligences and producing so many objects wherein the ability to discriminate various objects, and then I think that I need all that facility for me to exist. So this is also called as naturalist intelligence. Now, as a devotee, I respect Tulsi Devi as a personality. So whenever I see Tulsi Devi, I pay obeisances, I circumambulate her, I offer water. This is a devotional naturalist sentiment. So we have other living entities. We see them as part and parcel of Krishna. They also have to be respected. Then mother cow, not exploiting the resources of Krishna. Then all that is energy of Krishna. So why should I waste? So in that thought, so devotee also has this naturalist ability. Now the question is, all the fields of education what we are talking about, our regular education is stressing on all these. There are various schools to teach us all these kinds of abilities or skills or intelligence for me to develop. But we find a lot of people excelling in all this, especially when we are finishing our graduation and then we are entering into the job world, professional world, where we educationists, thinkers, reformers, leaders, all of them are stressing about opportunities in the outside world, and everybody should have this kind of intelligence today to sustain it with the competition we have as a student. So how we can sustain with only these kind of 8 types of skills or intelligence is a big question today. So if you see, these are all taught, and the question is this sufficient for a person? There is something called intelligence quotient, emotional quotient. So all the some emotional quotient, intelligence quotient is being taught. More of intelligence quotient it is. So here we see there are so many experts in all these fields today. But what is happening to the society? There are 350 million people worldwide suffering from depression today. It's a very common word used. When we don't have sufficient, let's say, it's very depressing. When we don't have sufficient air to breathe, we say it's very depressing. This is the scenario. And because of that, even though we have all these 8 skills on a material platform, I also added the devotional platform because we use those in our regular day-to-day devotional activity. But one who is not using that, imagine their situation. It's more of chronic diseases. I'm only developing these diseases, anxiety, stress, depression, and that is leading to suicides. And when my mental harmonious stability, which is supposed to be helping me to live peacefully, that is shaken up, then psychologically I get affected, and then I resort to violent crimes. And then when there is dissatisfaction, I resort to intoxication. All this is more of developing the body, developing the mind, but still we have so many issues in the society today. Why? What is the reason? The reason is we have missed out something very important, which Srila Prabhupada always stresses in his books. Can anybody help me figure out what is that? What is that ninth intelligence?
Prabhuji, is it spiritual intelligence?
Perfect. So it is the spiritual intelligence. It is the ability to go beyond body, mind, intelligence and ask questions, have inquiries, and have the sensitivity and capacity to tackle deep questions about our own existence. It's existential questions. It's called existential intelligence. Why am I existing? What is the meaning of my life? I'm going to die one day. And where will I go after death? This sensitivity towards my existential, fundamental questions of my life. Why am I suffering? So these ability to tackle these questions, ability to search for right answers to these questions, to be reflective and having this ability to think deeply is actually the scientific temperament. This is the real scientific temperament, the real education, real philosophical inclination, real theology, real religion. And that is the spiritual intelligence. So if we do not develop this spiritual intelligence, we'll only be dabbling, we'll only be handling our own body mind, which is just a covering for the spirit. And I am existing because of me, the spirit. I am the source of consciousness for my body. My body, I am able to feel, I am able to move, I am able to see the sensations in my body because of me, the spirit, the consciousness. So if I don't improve my spiritual intelligence, improve my consciousness, and understand I am beyond this body, I am a spirit soul, I am a part and parcel of Supreme Spirit, and start desiring and acting to that understanding in all the kinds of intelligence which Srila Prabhupada says it is borrowed plumes. All that is shared by Krishna. All the different types of intelligence, what we call as, it may not be really different types of intelligence, all those are different jnana, bala, kriya. Different types of jnana, different types of bala, different types of kriya, which we all consider as intelligence. And that is of the body, is of the mind or the subtle body. So we understand all those 8 types of intelligence are concerning with the material body we are possessing, and that material body is destructible. It was born on one point of time and it will vanish, and this body will be cut into pieces. It can be burnt by fire, it can be moistened by water, it can be dried by wind. Whereas spirit is completely opposite. Spirit is unborn, it is eternal, and nothing material can affect the spirit. Matter is conceivable now, spirit is inconceivable by the material senses. So this body, this covering, this dress what we have is a combination. My hardware of my body is just a combination of 5 gross elements: Bhumir, Apa, Nala, Analo, Vayu, Kham. Earth, water, air, fire and ether. And more to it, there is a software, and that software contains mind, intelligence and ego. And there is a hardware called brain for that software. So this hardware or software is not me. It's a very, very wrong understanding of myself. So when lot of speakers over the internet, when they talk about self-management, self, lot of self word is used. What is that real self? So that self is the soul. And when we act on a platform of the body, that self becomes this gross body. And when we act on the platform of mind, that self is at that point, we are thinking, I am the mind. And when we are intellectually thinking over a lot of things, analyzing, then that that self, I am thinking I am to be the intelligence. When I identify myself with a particular community, with a race, with a particular ethnicity, I think I'm part of that. That is ego, false ego. But the issue is I am none of these. So we sometimes work on the gross body platform, sometimes on the mental platform, sometimes on the intelligence platform, sometimes on the social ego platform. But we are the soul who are covered by these different layers of this body, which we say material body. So if we can control our mind through developed spiritual intelligence, which is available in the form of lectures, books, and devotees who are practicing can share different realizations by their experience, all these constitute spiritual intelligence, which is dealing only with the soul who is trapped in this material body and completely absorbed, wrongly identifying himself to be this body. So this spiritual intelligence, until unless it is imparted to everybody, every human being who can understand this, it's all that 8 types of intelligence, whatever we develop in this lifetime, is all going to vanish. So we need not too much worry about the 8 types of intelligence. They are all borrowed plumes. They are blessed. They are shared by the Lord because it is part of His energy. And Lord as Paramatma is sitting in the heart, and according to our karma, He has sanctioned particular types of intelligence. Somebody would be better in music, somebody would be better in culinary skills, somebody is better in some other skills, preaching skills, etc., etc. So one need not compare ourselves with others. The reason is everyone has a different body according to their own karma, and they have different types of intelligence or skills according to their own karma. Now, if I am a good singer, if I am not a good singer, I need not always become a good singer in this life. Not required. If I am not a good cook, I need not become a good cook. I may be a very simple cook throughout my life. It's fine. So, this is what is to be understood. These are all material skills. When we compare ourselves with others, what happens? The lusty tendency that I want to enjoy increases, and then I become envious. When I become envious, when there is anger, then there is the madness, then there is illusion, then there is greed. All these materialistic tendencies will be fueled if I am very, very, very bodily conscious. If I think I am this body, I am this mind, I am this intelligence, I am this social ego, I will never come out of this illusion. So, controlling the mind through developed spiritual intelligence is the key. Now, if Krishna wants for his service, if I am trying to develop spiritual intelligence alone in my life, with the blessings of Guru and Krishna, I on my own I cannot develop this intelligence also. I need mercy, I need blessings of higher authorities. So Guru and Krishna has to bless me with my sincere efforts to follow the procedures given by them to develop this intelligence and engage whatever I have already with me in the service of the Lord without hankering too much for either for spiritual intelligence or for any other intelligence, only seeking and begging mercy and engaging all the skills what I have and whatever Krishna wants, he will give for his service. By that, I can develop, if Krishna wants, other types of intelligence also, other types of skills also. So there are many live examples who, before coming to Krishna consciousness, many of us didn't have any of the skills. Even to talk in good English, we all have learned after coming to Hare Krishna temples, because we all interact in English. In our college in India, we hardly interacted with anybody in English apart from hearing lectures from the professor. So from there up to the management, on to how to clean Krishna's temple, and not even a speck of dust has to be there. With that kind of a feeling and sensitivity, a devotee will be trained in Krishna conscious society, in the Hare Krishna movement. So all the skills, whatever is required, will be given, provided the submissive skill is present with developed spiritual intelligence, with developed spiritual maturity. Then all that spiritual intelligence, to understand philosophy, to understand all the other skills, what is required for execution of devotional life, everything will be given. Only one skill is required. That's why Srila Prabhupada says, Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So we have to approach a spiritual master. Tad vidhi pranipan, surrender, be submissive to the spiritual master. Pariprashnen, and humbly ask questions. And after asking good questions, relevant questions, I seek answers, and when spiritual master give answer, render humble services to the spiritual master. Then if the spiritual master is pleased, tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam, all the knowledge will be revealed by that real jnani tattvadarshi, the spiritual master. So whatever we have, we engage in Krishna service and only be submissive and render more service to please the spiritual master, and in turn ask questions humbly and ask and get answers, not in a mood of grudge, not in a mood of trying to show that I am right, you are wrong. So in that mood, I will not get answers. So this is spiritual development, and this is spiritual intelligence. It's very, very rare. So, and that can be developed by chanting Hare Krishna mantra as ordained by Srila Prabhupada, and this spiritual sound, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, and we hear and we chant, and we render submissive, humble services to Guru and Krishna. Then all that what is required, all the spiritual intelligence, all other intelligence will be given to us, and whatever we have today is sufficient for rendering services to Krishna. We don't have to strive hard to acquire anything new. So these are the points. If anybody has any questions, we can take it up, and then I'll go to the question and answer sessions for all of you. I have 3 questions, a quiz for all of you. No questions? So first quiz question for all of you is the devotee's aim to develop all the 9 types of intelligence? Option A, only 8 are sufficient. B, no skills are required for a devotee. C, use the existing skills for the service of the Lord. And D, only 9th is sufficient.
C, use the existing for the service of the Lord.
Okay, others?
I feel only 9 is sufficient to get all the other 8.
The question is devotee's aim to develop all the above 9 types of intelligence? So answer is one of the 4.
B, Prabhuji.
B, no skills are required for a devotee. It's a tricky question.
I think it's B.
D.
It's C, Prabhu. Use existing for the service of the Lord. The 9th will develop on its own.
Okay.
C.
So-
Yeah, look like C.
Yeah. C,
D.
D. So now this is a, let me see, somebody has answered D. Okay. Now thing is, only 9th is not sufficient. Nor we are not saying that we don't need any skill. No, we need skill. By using the existing skills in the service of the Lord in a submissive, humble mood to please Srila Prabhupada, 9th also will be given. All other 8 what is required also will be given. So skills are required, but that is to start with. I should use existing skills for the service of the Lord. Now suppose I have just come and then I've been asked to do some cleaning. Now I am not spiritually inclined, but by rendering that humble service, especially I remember I was not so philosophically strong. I was always going to temple in Bangalore for prasadam and for attending kirtan and some class. I didn't have any real spiritual inclination. But 3 months after I left my job and I was doing services in the temple for 3 months continuously, day and night, morning I used to come and then night I used to go back late, 3 months continuously. That service, whatever skills I had, I'm just packing some prasadam in the this prasadam hall. I'm cleaning some vessels and going and booking and tickets for a pilgrimage tour. Do all that whatever I know. I was not doing anything new which I didn't know. By that, spiritual intelligence was given by Srila Prabhupada, and all the other 8 skills was also given gradually, and things started progressing. So in one way 9th is sufficient, and devotee may say, yes, we don't need any skills, but the right answer in the current today's discussion, the context is C. Hope all of you are able to understand the perspective. If you have any questions, please let me know. So question 2, how did we get the intelligence or buddhi? We are actually talking about buddhi, the intelligence, and what they are dividing into 9 types of intelligence is 8 types of intelligence is actually skills. It's all part of Jnana, Bala, Kriya. So now options are earned by myself, my professor shared me. C, it is coming from Krishna by my karma. D, all of the above.
C, coming from Krishna by my karma.
C.
C, coming from Krishna by my karma.
Yeah, the right answer is C. They are all borrowed plumes. All these skills, talents, Krishna say, it's a spark of his splendor. All that what we have today, all the skills, we should always give credit to Krishna and say that it is Krishna who has given me. Any moment he can take away those skills. I am speaking so nicely today, tomorrow he can take away my speaking skill. So I need not be proud of any of the intelligence, any of the skill, any of the talent I possess today, because it is given to me and it will one day be taken away along with the body. If I become too proud, Krishna will remove it and then make the devotee humble. So by my karma I have got, and for Krishna's service, if Krishna wants, he will give, and if the devotee becomes proud, he will take away that. So this is what Krishna is in fully control of all the talent. Now how to develop spiritual intelligence? A, by chanting Hare Krishna. B, by the mercy of Guru and Krishna. C, by reading Srila Prabhupada's books. D, all of the above.
All of the above.
D.
All of
All of them.
D.
By the mercy of Guru and Krishna.
All of the above.
Yeah, the right answer is D, all of the above. By the mercy of Guru and Krishna, and I have to chant also, I have to read Prabhupada books also, and this is how we do. We develop spiritual intelligence. And any questions, please?